buy or sell the Great British Pound / the Russian Rouble. First off, read this disclaimer carefully and do your good deed of the day by liking and subscribing. So let's go a bit down. So here we have the British Pound, the Russian Rouble, 3.2% from the 52-week low and approaching a 9% pullback here from the 52-week highs. So we start here with the weekly data points. You could certainly make the case that we have some pretty clear time cycle: rise, decline, rise, decline, rise, decline, rise, decline, and rise, and decline. Okay, so given that, we are still part of a declining part of this major time cycle. So that is something we have to be aware of. That is, of course, in the big picture. If we zoom in a bit, then we see that we are currently testing the blue 100-week moving average for support. It's been a solid resistance level back here in 2019. Then it became support with these blue arrows. So it is an interesting level here to watch out for some bullish activities. You could certainly make the case that this is a very substantial head and shoulders pattern. So we could now be in the process of then forming that right shoulder. If you look here at the left shoulder, you see that it first had the last part of that shoulder was this small part, and then of course you have the major part here. It could be that this part is analogous to, so let's draw that a bit differently. So let's do it like this. So it could be that this part here is analogous to this part. If that is the case, then it's possible that we will see a parallel to what we saw here. That would mean a bit of a rally. And if we do see that, full development of a head and shoulders pattern, then that rally would then eventually fail. So that is a hypothetical development. Obviously, that is just drawing something on a chart. But it's something that, it's very much a potentiality, and it is more likely to develop given that we have these major time cycles. Because time cycles, especially the smaller time cycles within the major, they are the ones that form head and shoulders patterns. Let's go to the daily data points. So in this case, we are below a lot of key moving averages. The 50-day moving average here in green has gone from being a clear resistance to now playing a bit as support. We do have resistance levels above us, like the blue 100-day and especially the red 200-day moving average. So any potential rally upwards is going to be laborious. Okay, so if you look here at these other indicators, we do have a tepid buy signal here on the MACD from our very low level. If you look here at the long-term history of the RSI, at these very low levels of RSI approaching oversold territory, they tend to result in some significant rally, some mean reversion. So if you look here a bit at the history, like back here, we had a similar RSI level that formed a major low. Back here we had a bit of a noisy period though, so there is a risk of something like this happening. That's something that must be respected. But even during this downtrend, we did have some mean reversions to the upside. So yeah, if we go here to the daily data points, we are very close to getting a bit of a tiny bullish signal here on the MACD. Blue crossing above red. Blue over red, very close. Yeah, so let's explore a bit further. So I do not get seasonality for this currency pair. So what we can do instead is to compare the United Kingdom ETF with the Russia ETF, the RSX. So over the last 5 years, United Kingdom tends to underperform in January, but then February is very strong. Over the last 10 years, January tends to underperform, then February, March, and April tend to be stronger for UK. Then the last 15 years. Then we do see that January, February, March, on average, there tends to be some underperformance here from United Kingdom, the EWU. Okay, when we look here at correlations, so long term, we do have a 74% positive with the S&P 500, minus 13% with the United Kingdom ETF, the stock market ETF. And the stock market ETF for Russia, RSX, has a 41% positive correlation, long term. Minus 79% here with the dollar index. Then the daily data points, minus 72 with the S&P 500. EVU is at 18%, minus 67% clearly negative here with RSX. And then minus 78% here with the dollar index. So very strong correlations here with the dollar index. As far as these stock market ETFs, at least looking here shorter term, which we have right here in front of us, we do see that a strengthening in the Great British Pound tends to be associated with decline in the RSX, in the sense that there's a negative relationship, and minus 67%, it is strong-ish. Looking here at the weekly data points, though, it complicates the picture, and this is one of the reasons why it is very important to look at statistical correlations, because if you only see the number and not the trend over time, then it is very easy to be duped by correlations. But it's super important to be aware of both the long and the short term. Okay, so to sum up, I do think that I would lean more bullish than bearish because of this key support level and the potential that we are going to form this major head and shoulders pattern. But that also means that longer term, then I would be bearish. And we did find these very long-term time cycles.